Clint Culberson coming to you from Oak Flat, which is just east of Superior, Arizona, about an hour east of Phoenix, one of the largest metropolitan cities in the United States of America. And I came up here today because the group of people who are trying to help save Oak Flat from Rio Tinto Mining Company, aka Resolution Copper, as they're known, or their subsidiary or whatever it is. We're trying to save this land up here from being, taken away from the people, which has already basically happened through a land exchange bill that our politicians, who are being funded by the mining companies themselves, to throw this bill onto a military spending bill at the last minute, even though it could never pass on its own for well over a decade or around a decade. I came up here to just support the group up here, Wendsler Nosie, who is a real leader in the San Carlos Apache community. Their reservation's just around the corner from here. He was here to kind of give us a little update on what's going on and where we're at, and what can we do to protect this land before it's too late, because by fall of next year the operation could be in full gear. And where I'm standing right now, over the next couple decades, is going to be, it'll be 1,000 feet underground, and all this plant material you see right here, all the trees, all the animals that are quietly sneaking around me, they will be gone. And that's a real shame, because this is really a special place. A lot of people who live in Phoenix and Globe, Miami, all around Arizona have been coming to this place for years to enjoy its natural beauty. They have a campground here. I used to come here when I was a teenager in Boy Scouts. And I remember camping here and, jumping from the boulders and, just playing under the trees and everything. And this land is also very sacred land to the Apache. They've been coming to Oak Flat for generations, doing their coming of age ceremonies for their young women in their community. And really, this is an infringement on religion in many ways. Yet it's been taken out of the argument from the political level. Wendsler Nosie, who I just brought up, he just in Washington trying to prove his, Washington, D.C., trying to talk to politicians to get some action going on. And then when he came back here, he decided to just move up here to Oak Flat, and he's basically just camping out here full time as a land protector, and he's, helping clean up and just be here and praying every day. And he's praying for the land and praying for the people that we can have a miracle before this all ends up in disaster. And it was beautiful to see the community around here, not just Apaches, but even us, European descendant people, aka whiteys, came up to help support what's going on as well. And it's a beautiful community of people who really care about the land and who see a different way of living, where we can all live abundantly and not have to perpetually tear up the land and the earth to, commoditize it and make money. Now, with that said, of course, I'm talking to you on a phone that has copper in it. And even the work that I do, I own an irrigation business, and we use copper pipes to hook up to people's homes and get them water and the whole deal. And so I'm aware that even my own actions are contributing to the desire to get the copper that's standing below me. I want to say it's a mile deep down under there that they're gonna try to get this vein of copper. But in order to get this vein of copper, which is you know, pretty big, but at the same time, for the amount of tailings, which is the leftover rock, you know, the copper is not all together, so they have to process. They have to separate the copper from other rock material, and they use some real toxic chemicals to do that. And those toxic chemicals don't just jump off the rocks; they stay on them, and then they're going to dump all these tailings over not too far from Superior, Arizona, which is a little town just down the hill from here. You know, it's something that can completely jeopardize the water table, and this whole entire project is going to be reducing the water table by 20%. The flow of the Queen Creek itself will be reduced by 20%. And those, you know, that has really long-lasting implications, and for the wildlife around us and for us. Really, we need to be our efforts need to be towards turning back desertification and not increasing it. And I think these are the questions we all have to really start looking at. This is a 40-year project to get this copper out of here. Is 40 years of economic revenue worth losing all this for? Because when they're done, it's a god-awful disaster usually, and you can see that. Just go east of here to Miami and Globe, where so many parts of that town just look like apocalypto land, you know, with the mountains all chopped off, and it's just crazy. It's kind of gives you a little bit of a sick feeling. Yet again, the in many ways I might say that, and yeah, I'm a hypocrite because I'm using these materials that I'm trying to prevent from being extricated, and so excavated. So, you know, when you get into the environmental world, it oftentimes turns into an inward look at your own actions, and to what part of your own actions are actually playing into the very thing that you're actually fighting against. And you know, so look at your own hypocrisy. If you are someone who fights for the land, you know, the first place to start above anything else is your own actions. So, and our never-ending consumption model of which we live in, plastic bottles and endless trash and just you name it, you know, it's something that we all need to really start looking at, and how much of this do we want to be a part of, and what are the implications of it? Because we live in these cities where oftentimes we're so far away from the land that is actually being destroyed in order to bring us the goods that we want. So again, you know, urbanization has just disconnected us from the land, from the supply chain of our own lives. And we just kind of assume they just magically show up in the stores. Wow, okay, cool, sweet. But we don't really think about where they're coming from. And I'm optimistic that's shifting, that people really are starting to become more aware of that. And I think that you know, the statistics show in terms of, you know, this movement of consumption and, you know, plastic bottles and all that stuff. But copper and minerals and, you know, the mining world, precious metals that are in the ground, you know, we don't really have replacements for these things. And, you know, we need to start looking at them, because otherwise we can't just continue to chop down all the mountains in perpetuity. You know, 10,000 years from now, what are we doing? And I think that's something that we really need to look at, and I hope we don't get looked at from future generations as this totally selfish grandparents who left their grandchildren with a, you know, Mad Max kind of world, because we just could never stop consuming. Look how beautiful it is here today. Wow. It's worth saving, though. I will say, it is worth saving. I've been coming here since the 90s, and it's just a gorgeous place. Anyway, I wanted to share this with you. Save Oak Flat. if you can, start staying abreast of what's going on here. I know this feels like a helpless situation in so many ways, but be ready for action. Let your friends know. The more awareness we can create of what's happening down here, just an hour east of Phoenix. If you're in Phoenix and you're watching this, spread the word that what's going on here in Oak Flat. Come check it out. Come camping here with your family and friends, and just connect with the land while it's here. And I just want to share that with you guys. Keep Arizona wild.